Hey, good morning, sixth graders. It is December 21st, which means we are on the solstice. So, guess what? The days are going to get brighter. We're going to actually start picking up more sunlight per day. Today's the shortest day of the year, basically. Um, that's a good thing. That means there's hope, right? We got the vaccine coming. We got the end of 2020. We got the stimulus bills passed. So, some parents who are struggling financially might get a little bit of help. Things are looking up. So stay with me to the bitter end, so we all have this amazing holiday break to just reflect and be good with each other. Okay. Um, Today we're going to review another story by another author who's amazing, and then some more Write What You Know. So today's author is Sandra Cisneros. She is an amazing. You might have heard of her book, The House on Mango Street. She's a poet and an author, and she wrote a short story today, and I have already recorded that, so you'll follow along with me. Thing about Sandra Cisneros is she is an activist. So she has always fought for immigration rights. She has a dual citizenship. She's both a Mexican resident and the United States resident. Her family hails from Mexico. And she writes often with a flair for her Latinx background, although she would identify as a Chicana. So that's someone who, in her perspective, bounces between Mexico and United States. So she's identifies as Mexican who lives as an American. So she has a lot of identity she's wrestling with, according to what I've read. Anyway, she's super decorated, very talented, and she writes a story. So I want you to first do this: is right now at this moment, pause and then go read the story. After you've read the story, here's what you're going to do: is I want you to guess what might have been like, might have gone through Cisneros's um, characters. So, what could you guess might have gone through the mind of her main character, Rachel? Like, how does Rachel feel about herself? What does the red sweater on her desk make her think about? What does it make her worry about? So, I want you to list 5 to 10 things that you think Sandra Cisneros' character, Rachel, felt about being handed that red sweater. And she does explain in the writing what she's experiencing, but I want you to try to name it, like bullet point. So, and I want you to say this, like, I think that maybe Sandra Cisneros' character, Rachel, has many thoughts going through her head about that red sweater. So some of these thoughts might be, and then like I would put in there all these things that I would think she's experiencing. Insecurities, maybe. Is she worried about something? I want you to try to do 5 to 10. Okay. What do you think she worried about? Okay, after we're done with that, really, this is what Sandra Cisneros says about writing. When I teach writing, I tell people to go to the theater, look at an art exhibit, or go see a movie or listen to some music, because sometimes working different parts of your brain helps you problem solve. That's our STEM model, people, is that we're working a different part of our brain. You're writing today. That's your art. And get out of the situation where you're stuck. That's what writing does. I've done that myself, and the older I get, the more I find that helps my writing. So here's the thing: is I want you to try to push yourself again today with a free write. So we're going to start by doing this. Write what you know, brainstorming. So I want you to open a new page in your writer's notebook and make this little donut. Okay. And in this, I want you to write down the small moments that were big to me. So here's what we're trying to do: is I want you to try to list 5 to 10 moments that were in your life where something happened that was really small in the big picture, but huge to you. So think about the sweater, right? The sweater is just no big deal. It's just a sweater. Who cares? The teacher probably never even remembered she did this to Rachel, but it's a huge deal to Rachel. It ruins her birthday. That one sweater and all the things that it means for her, that mattered big time. But probably no one else will ever remember the sweater, ever. And that's the whole thing that we're talking about today: is these small moments that you have, they're big deals to you. So for instance, here's mine. Like, God, I was once told to hurry up, fatty, because I was kind of a heavy kid, at the drinking fountain. I remember that really clear. That was not fun. I remember that this kid came up. He was even younger than me, and he said, "Hurry up, fatty." And I was like, all these thoughts are going through my head, and all I did was say, "Shut up." I didn't have anything better than that. Here's another one. I once walked out of after school intramurals. This is like activities like basketball and dodgeball, um, because I didn't want to do shirts versus skins. I can tell you that whole story. Like, I was so worried about taking my shirt off because I was kind of heavy and I was embarrassed by my body. And I walked out and I said, I don't want to play that game. No one knew why, but it was a huge deal to me. And I'm sure no one ever remembered I did that. So these are like, I want you to shoot for 5 or 10, okay? 5 or 10 things that were big moments that you remembered from when you were a kid. Well, you're still a kid, but things in the past that were a big deal to you. Maybe it was a big deal for you as a student and a teacher, or a big deal between you as a friend to another friend. Something huge, okay? And then after we're done with that, you're going to take a fictional character named Jin and make Jin experience one thing from your brainstorm list. Try to write mostly in the many thoughts swirling and swimming in Jin's head. Most of these kinds of moments take place all in a person's head. That's what Sandra Cisneros' character is doing, is that it's all what they're thinking. The drama of the story is their mind and the many things kicking around and what they're worried about. So I want you to make Jin experience how important the moment is for him, her, or them. You can make Jin whatever gender you'd like. You're telling a story, so also include some description of what is happening. So here's an example, right? There, Jin was looking at 20 kids running around, not a care in the world, shirts off, abs showing, muscles tight over bone and muscle. So this is my free write, and it's some action there. This is what's going on. And here he sat, flesh hanging off his frame, no definition to any part of his body. He's heavier than the other kids. Wait, that kid doesn't have a shirt on, and he's not thin. In fact, he's heavier than Jin. Why can he do it, but Jin can't? That was when Jin heard the worst 4 words come out of Mr. Englebright's mouth that he could ever hear at that moment. It's shirts versus skins. So literally, this is how I remember this moment happening. This is from my example of my life, but I'm writing it as Jin. Okay, so all of this is all in Jin's head. Does that make sense? All right, there you go. There's your work for today. You will turn this in. You can write on your notebook and take a picture and submit that, or you can create a submission in Schoology and then turn that in. So there you go. That's our work for today. Last big work day of 2020.